Back out here to the almost one-man shop build. My wife Sarah's been helping me with these trusses up here. The very first one I did down there took me about 6 hours to do by myself. Was absolutely horrible to do, and so I elicited her help to come help me with these other ones. The problem I had with that first truss down there is once I'd set it up there with the forklift, I had no way to really support it, so it would just fall over because it was just 2 7/8" pipe just trying to set up there. So I got a little bit more creative, took that down, made some brackets to hold them up there while I get ready. So this is an end bracket. I've only got 2 more trusses to do, so this is actually a little bit different than the ones I've been using. But it's 3-inch C-channel welded onto a steel plate, which I believe is 1/2 inch or 3/8. And this is just some scrap I had laying around. That steel plate's about 8 inches wide by about 10 inches long, and the C-channel here is about 10 inches long. And so what I did is I welded these little plates and brackets together, and then I would bring them over and do each truss individually, welding them on to the appropriate distance from the edge. So I've set these up to where there's going to be a 1-foot overhang on each side of the barn, and so it ended up being, it was 20.5 inches over here for each one of the little brackets to sit on there. And so I just set these brackets, or I set the truss on top of the brackets over here on the concrete to get it all flat and straight and level, and then just welded it on there. This bracket on the left hand side here, I put this little hook on there so that when I lift it up with the forklift, all I have to do is get it to sit right on there, and so the truss sits right where it needs to be on this side, and then I'll come over to the other side and get this other side kind of leveled out, lined up a little bit better. And so that's actually worked extremely well for us for these last 6, I believe we've done 5 trusses like that, and it makes it so much easier. And so I'll try and get some shots of us putting this second to last truss up here, and be warned, this is not OSHA approved technique, so it's the only way we've been able to get it done with ourselves out here. But just 2 more trusses to go. These other ones have gone up very nicely. So up here on top of the I-beams, I have 4x4 by 1/4 inch angle iron. I've got this piece of 4x4 by 1/4 inch sit up here at the appropriate length, so that when I sit the truss up here, it'll be right in the middle. So all I really have to do is line up the little hook on the bracket down there, sit it up on here, and then slide it back to right up against, to butt up against this piece of angle iron here. So it eliminates a lot of movements I have to do with the forklift. This piece up here is just up here with a big C-clamp, and that's plenty strong enough to hold it. And then once I get it sat up here, I'll clamp it down both sides, get it all centered up just the way I like it, and then weld it down. On the end of the forklift to lift the trusses, I have a big hook. This is a hook that came from Northern Tool and Equipment, I believe. I think it's a 3,500 pound working load is what it said on the tag, if I remember correctly. And then I got just a big 1/2 inch chain wrapped around the fork. The reason why I did it this way is so I could hook the trusses from the top and they would hang down straight. And also this forklift has a very slow leak in it, so that the forks will drop over a period of time. And so I can't really support the truss up top with the forks of the forklift, because the forks will drop down and put too much pressure on the truss, or it'll come loose. And that's why I have that hook there, so that it can hook the top of the truss, and once I get the truss set up there, I can unhook it without having to go up there on a ladder or the scissor lift. But this is a LULL 10,000 pound telescoping forklift. I got it at a fantastic deal at an auction, and I bought it specifically to do this job. And I'll sell it after I'm done building the barn. It has a leak in the radiator, so I'm filling it up with water. So when I get some video, you'll probably see it, the radiator leaking pretty good. So I fill it up in between each truss. I need to pull the radiator out and fix the little leak in it. So I'll do my best to try and get this on video. Quality may be poor. It's hard to work all this at one time. So what I'm going to do is hook it with the help of Sarah. This truss is already all welded up. The problem I was having with these is I could lift them just fine and get them hooked and everything, but once I got them up there, they started wanting to spin. So we've got a rope tied on each end of the truss that Sarah's going to grab and help control it. See, it's already starting to try and spin. And I'll back it up and get it lined up as best as I can. These 40-foot trusses are easy to hit stuff because they're so long. Go ahead, get that other rope. See how they want to spin, spin, and spin. So there was no way I could figure out how to do this by myself. Just have to have a second person to help you get it lined up. What I'm going to try and do is hook it on that bracket over there and try and just get these two edges shoved up against that little piece of angle iron that's sticking up there. I don't know if I can get that all on camera. Just slowly get it close into place. Sarah's working the ropes, trying to keep it from spinning. Going nice and slow. I don't know if you can see it or not, but I'm going to try and hook that little hook on that left-hand side. Right there. And then I'll try and just inch it into place. Too far. Okay, so the right hand side's nice and lined up. Try and get the left hand side lined up a little better. Sarah, pull your right hand hard. Pull the right. Perfect. So, I've got the two sides pretty well lined up. I think I need to move that left over just a little bit. We'll try and get it to side shift. so we got it level side to side, and so I can adjust it on top of the scissor lift from front to back. The truss weighs too much for me to be able to scoot the whole thing from left to right as we're looking at it right now, but I can shift it from forward to backwards as we're looking at it right now from up on top of the scissor lift. So I'm going to unhook the hook if I can. So the hook's loose, and then I will put the forks underneath it. Just as a safety, in case the wind was to kick up and blow it over or something crazy. So I'll get the forks up as close as I can to it, and they'll slowly drop, but they really slowly drop, so that if this truss was to fall over, the forks in theory should catch it, and at least give me enough time to get out of the way. So parking brake, turn this machine off. And now I'll go up there on the scissor lift and clamp it all together, get it all lined up the way I really want it. And then I'll clamp both sides. I'll probably start on that side since it's got the little hook on it. Then get it clamped and then welded, and we'll be done with that truss and move on to the next one. Sarah, my lovely assistants, did a great job. So, got the final truss up. 8 trusses total. Looking good. That last truss was probably the hardest one yet. The reason being is that there was nothing really on the end to support it. So we would get one side up there, then the other side would slip off over this way, or we'd get that side on and this side would slip off, and it kept wanting to fall over this way. So what I actually ended up doing is I had some 2x12s about 3 feet long, and I strapped them on to the edge of this I-beam here. So the camera's not doing too good. So I strapped them on the edge of the I-beam here so that the truss could butt up against it. That seemed to help a lot. And Sarah and I finally got it up there. But so far, trusses look really good. And these are 2 7/8 inch pipe trusses, 40 feet wide. Barn is 70 feet long, and they're 16 feet off the ground. Welded up real nice. So next plan is going to be Z-purling along the tops, and then we'll be getting ready for some R panel for the roof. More to come.